Bueno, usamos dos porteadores locales para subir al campo alto. El foto a la derecha es el campo alto de Imani y necesita como 4 o 5 horas para llegar al campo alto con los porteadores, pero con los porteadores es más fácil porque ellos pueden llevar más cosas, aún botellas de agua, porque si no, en el campo alto, por ejemplo, de Imani, no hay agua y hay que derretir nieve para, ¿cómo se dice?, crear agua.
Probably you could just carry on with English. So they are advanced students.
Oh, really? ¿Es mejor en inglés o español? English? Oh. Are you just saying my Spanish is very bad or something?
They want to hear your English.
Okay. Bueno, si hay preguntas yo puedo responder en español también, si no entienden. Okay, siguiente por favor. So there's just some nice views of Imani in different times of day. And you can see the glacier with the big towers. Those towers are called seracs. Siguiente, por favor. So the photo on the left is the base camp, probably about an hour before we went to bed, because in the mountains you usually start very early in the morning. So when we did Imani, I think we started at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then the photo on the right is me on the summit, La Cumbre, and that was probably about 8 o'clock in the morning, I would guess. Imani is a very cold mountain because the normal route goes up the west face, which means that it doesn't see sun until the afternoon. So if you start at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's dark, you're never going to see the sun, maybe not even on the way down, just on the summit. When you pop out, you have the sun. So we think that the day we did it, it was very cold. It was in June. We think the temperatures on Imani were about minus 30 degrees on the upper part of the mountain. Was it cold when you did it too?
Yeah. Minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Or Celsius?
Celsius.
Celsius?
Yeah. Between minus 20 and minus 30.
Whoa, that's cool.
Siguiente, por favor. Okay, so the next mountain to the north, next big mountain in the Cordillera Real is Murata. So the picture on the left is our base camp for Murata, and that's my friend Conrad, and he has skis on his back because one of my favorite ways to move in the mountains is on skis. So we had to do a little bit of rock climbing with skis to get to the glacier. Siguiente, por favor. And there's the glacier on Murata. Anyone who's seen Murata knows that the glacier is very big, right? Like long, long glacier. It makes it nice for skiing, though. Siguiente, por favor. And then here we have a little video of some skiing, but we're going to have to adjust it because it's sideways. That's gravity-defying skiing.
Yeah, man, it's actually pretty sweet climb.
So that's me skiing. And then, I don't know if you noticed, there was a little black dot behind me. Well, that's my dog. So my dog comes to the mountains quite often too. Okay, siguiente por favor. So that's the summit of Murata, and you can see Imani in the background. Okay, siguiente por favor. So I have 2 children. They're now adolescents. They're, how old are they? 14 and 16. But this was like 3-4 years ago, so they were younger then. But I'd like to take them to the mountains too. Sometimes they like to go to the mountains and sometimes they don't, but So we forced them to go. So that's my son and I on top of Charquini. Charquini, you might have heard of Charquini, is a mountain just to the south of Huayna Potosi that has 4 glaciers on it. It's a nice, easy mountain to climb. Siguiente. So there's the kids learning how to climb a glacier. So glaciers have some dangers. So they have these things called crevasses in them. In Espanol, it's grietas, which are these big cracks in the snow and ice. And sometimes you can see them. And if you can see them, it's good because you can go around them. But sometimes they're buried with a very thin layer of snow. And so you don't know the crevasse is there, and then you can take a step and then fall into it. So that's why we use ropes on the glaciers to protect against the crevasses. Siguiente. So those are the kids and my wife on the summit of Charquini. Everyone's very, very happy. Siguiente. So the next mountain in the Cordillera Real to the north is Huayna Potosi, very famous mountain because it's over 6,000 meters high and it's relatively close to La Paz and fairly easy to access. So in this picture, that's my friend Eric, I think, on the summit ridge. So we climbed up this wall here and then we walked along the ridge to the summit. You can usually do Huayna Potosi in a day and a half. The first day you go up to the mountain, go up to the high camp, and then the next day you climb to the summit and you can go all the way back to La Paz. Siguiente. So I've done Huayna Potosi several times, but this time in the picture on the right, we did it as a family. So the whole family is on their way to the high camp. Siguiente. And Huayna Potosi is one of the few mountains in Bolivia that has a structure that's built up on the mountain, so you don't have to sleep in a tent. So that's one of the structures that's at high camp. But you have to just hike or walk to that high camp. Again. And there we are on our way up the mountain, very early in the morning. You can see the sunrise kind of over the Yungas there. Siguiente. There's the kids going up the final part, well, on the left, and then steep section on the right. Siguiente. There's me in the right picture, looking very tired because I'm already over 6,000 meters and been going for hours. So the altitude makes it that much harder, and you go very slow, right? Siguiente. Yeah, there we are looking happy but tired on the top of Huayna Potosi. Okay, so now we're moving north from Huayna Potosi to the Condoriri area. And the mountain on the left is called Pequeño Apamayo. It's a very pretty looking mountain, very angular. And it's named Pequeño Apamayo because its shape is similar to a very famous bigger mountain in Peru called Apamayo. And this is just the Pequeño version of the Apamayo in Peru. To get to Pequeño Apamayo, you go up this beautiful valley here, Condoriri. Siguiente. And there's me with some skis there on Cerro Tarija. Someone said they did Cerro Tarija, right? Yeah. Which you have to climb in order to get to Pequeño Apamayo. But it's actually very fun to ski in April, May. And there's a campsite on another side of Condoriri where we spent some time, one of the lakes there. It's a very pretty place. If you've never had a chance to go to Condoriri, it's not too far from La Paz. You can get there in 2.5 hours from here. And the lake has trout in it too, truchas. More pictures from Condoriri. This valley is the next kind of big valley to the north of Condoriri. It's not very well known. It's called Hancocota, and it has two really big lakes in it, and then the smaller lake here. But there's a pretty big mine, actually I think several mines, so the road up there is pretty good. Scary, very scary. It's like the death road where it just drops straight off. But it's actually a pretty good road. So you can camp up there, which is what that picture is, and then there are many mountains to climb and ski up there. The first time we went up there, we got snowed on our last night. And then that's just one of the peaks called Hishkapata, which is very nice on skis. You also have Hankauyu, and what's the other one called? Hankalaya, I think it's called. And you can see my ski partner there, the little black dog there. Her name is Anu. Does anyone know what Anu means? Do we have any Aymara speakers here? No? Anu is dog in Aymara. There's the glacier we skied there. You can see the tracks. So now we're moving up to Chachakomani. So Chachakomani is a little bit harder to get to. So the picture on the left, we used some mules, or donkeys actually. And you can see if you look carefully, the donkeys are carrying our skis, which I thought was a pretty interesting image. So with the donkeys, you can go up to the base, or the high camp rather, which is the picture on the right. And Chachakomani has a very long glacier. So you can ski or climb up the glacier, and then that's the summit there of Chachakomani. And then the mountain on the left is Chiroko, which is just to the north of Chachakomani. It's more difficult than Chachakomani because you can see there's some steep ice towers and crevasses that you have to get through. And that was our high camp for Chiroko there. And when we did that adventure, we went up one valley and we climbed Chachakomani, then we moved our camp and then did Chiroko, and then came down a whole separate valley. So we did like a loop. But that valley that you can see in the left photo is very long and difficult because it was mostly swampland, so kind of meadows, grass with lots of water. So you had to kind of figure out how to get through it without getting too wet. All right, so now we're leaving the. So that's as far as I've been north in the Cordillera Real. I have never been to Yampu or Hankuma, but I have a trip planned in a few weeks to go there and hopefully ski Hankuma. So now we're moving to the Cordillera Occidental, which is you've all heard of Sahama, right? Has anyone been to Sahama? Anyone been to Arica? Tabo Quemado? No? It's a very beautiful place. Oh, you have? Okay, good. So on the left picture, this mountain is called Acotango. It's a little over 6,000 meter peak right on the border with Chile. In fact, we were just there I was just on the summit for the fourth time last weekend, and my phone changed to Chilean time zone when we got to the top. But it's a really nice mountain to ski. It's a volcano. It has a big crater that you can ski into. And in the background there, you can see the Payachatas, the twin mountains, Parinacota and Pomarape, which are also on the Chilean border. And then actually go back that mountain. You can't see it too well on the photo, but the photo on the right, I can't remember the name of that mountain, but it's in Chile, and it's an active volcano. So it still has smoke coming out of it. You can't really see it. You can kind of see it, but it's hard. So there's one of our ski trips on Acotango. And the photo on the left is Sahama, and then Payachatas, which are the twin Parinacota and Pomarape. we saw in the other photo. And the landscape in the Cordillera Occidental is really, really interesting. So these two photos here show volcanic ash. So it's kind of like sand and small little pieces of cinder, which are like the small pieces of ash from a volcanic eruption. And because these used to be active volcanoes, the ground, the earth around the volcanoes is covered in this ash, which is kind of nice to go down because it's nice and soft, but it's terrible to go up because you take one step and then you sink down in there. So it's better to go when there's snow. Next. That's me on the summit of Parinacota, and you can see the crater there. Next one. And there's my friend Conrad, very happy because it's very tiring. And then the nice deep crater on Parinacota. There's some vicuñas with Sahama in the background. Has anyone seen a vicuña before? They're really neat looking animals. Okay. So, yep, last year my friend Eric and I, we climbed and skied Sahama. So we used porters to help get our equipment up to the high camp. And then that picture on the right is the high camp, and as you can see, there's not much room. So if there were other people there, we would be very crowded because there's only room for maybe, 3 tents or so. And you can see our ski tracks in the right photo, our high camp in the left. So the route goes up that ridge there, that cresta. And there's the summit of Sahama, which I think everyone knows is the highest mountain in Bolivia. And it's got a very big flat area. And apparently they played a football match on the summit of Sahama several years ago. I don't know how they did it though, because I could barely breathe just standing there. But it's a big flat summit. You could spend the night there if you wanted to. But Sahama is known to be a very cold and miserable mountain because it's often very windy. We were very lucky, and when we did it, we had almost no wind. Siguiente. So Uturuncu is a not very well known 6,000 meter mountain in the very far south of Bolivia in the Surlipes province of the Potosi department. So really close to the Argentinian and Chilean borders. And so we did a family ascent of Uturuncu. It's technically very easy, but it's worth doing. The Bolivian flag there. Okay, does anyone know where the Cordillera Quimsa Cruz is? Anyone? So La Quimsa Cruz is not very well known, but it's a very beautiful mountain range that is between the Cordillera Real and Cochabamba, or actually more like Cordillera Real and Oruro. And there's hardly anybody in it. Like, you just don't see people in the mountains aside from miners because there are many mines there. And because there are so many mines, the roads are pretty good, and it's possible to access many beautiful places. So you can see the photo on the left is our camp, and we could drive to that camp. And that beautiful lake there was a nice place to camp. And then we could ski on those mountains in the background, which is, I think, where that picture on the right was taken. With my ski partner behind me there. And you can see how beautiful the colors are. So these photos have not been manipulated at all. That's just truly the color of the lake. Absolutely beautiful. And there are trout in some of the lakes in the Quimsa Cruz. So there's my wife trying to catch some trout. We were not successful on that trip, unfortunately. But I did catch a big fish, which we'll see in a minute. You can see the clouds there all on the Yungas side, which is often the case in the mountains here. You have clouds down in the Yungas where there's a lot more moisture in the air, and then on the Altiplano side there's none. And in addition to ski mountaineering in the Quimsa Cruz, it's also a really nice place to climb, to rock climb. And so these images are from the northern part of the Quimsa Cruz, where you can climb high quality granite rock. And I caught that nice big rainbow trout there that Lucrecia was very happy about, because I think she was running out of food, and so we got like 3 meals out of that through each other. All right, so now we're to the rock climbing part. Has anyone heard of Pomani? No? So everyone's heard about the legend of the conflict between Imani and Murata, right? So we know that Imani got upset with Murata, lopped off Murata's head, which is Sahama, right? So Pomani, which is near Ayoayo, does anyone know where Ayoayo is? On the road between La Paz and Patacamaya. Legend is that Pomani is the corazon of Murata, because it's got so much red color to it. And it's this big chunk of rock that just kind of rises out of the Altiplano. So it has some very nice rock climbing. So we go there very often. And there's Peñas. We know we had someone in Peñas, yeah. That feature up there, like the smooth rock wall, that's called La Placa del Águila. And in that place there, a friend of mine and I, we equipped a whole bunch of new climbing routes. About 18 pitches of climbing that we put in there. Siguiente. There's the view from Peñas on the left, me doing a little bit of climbing. So Peñas is a beautiful place to climb because the views are good, the rock is good, the people are very friendly. Siguiente. More climbing in Peñas on the left, my daughter is climbing, and on the right you can see my son. He's like a little speck up there on the wall, kind of in the kind of top middle on the red part of the rock, orange part of the rock. And then you can see me actually above him. And the left picture is my son in Dragon Dormido. Has anyone heard of Dragon Dormido? On Lake Titicaca? Yeah. Very beautiful place to climb to. My son loves it there because he likes climbing slab. Siguiente. We have another video here. So this video is on Chachacomani, just to give you an idea.
Buena.
Condori.
Muy bien, el Chiaro por el fondo. ¿Cómo estás, Joshua? ¿Feliz? ¿Cansado? ¿Feliz? Muy bien.
Okay. Siguiente, porfa. Oh, we got more skiing in there. Okay. All right, so that's the end of my slideshow, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and I will just close by saying that Bolivia is a beautiful country with all kinds of wonderful places to explore, not just the mountains. I prefer the mountains, but there's other places that are great too, so I encourage everyone to get out there and explore as much as you can. Thanks.